but the only way to actually show and prove that you are sorry is through action and change.
James Charles, a name that is no stranger to controversies. He is the king of faking accountability and has once again found himself in the center of a controversy. He clearly has not changed since Bye Sister was released. Today, we are going to highlight just how terrible of a human being he really is, all while redirecting attention back to the person who deserves it the most, Kayla Malec. Because despite him weaseling his way into her story, her voice is the one that matters most. He is the true living definition of a cockroach and continues to exist unapologetically on the internet. Hey guys, and welcome back to De-Influenced. I'm Sasha, and here is where I dive deep into the messy world of influencer culture and call them out for their crappy behaviors. Now, you guys obviously know who we're talking about today, and I really didn't wanna, but we're gonna, because this is an important conversation that we need to have and really reevaluate who we are supporting and allowing to exist on social media, who we're allowing to have influence over people. James Charles, not the person. He has repeatedly been involved in scandal after scandal after scandal. He's not going to change, and he's lying to you every time he opens his trap to apologize.
You saw that I was sorry. I'm sorry if I disappointed you. And I'm really sorry that you had to watch all this go down. To Tati and James Westbrook, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. That is all I have to say. I'm sorry. I want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I added you. I'm sorry that I flirted with you. And I'm really sorry if I ever made you uncomfortable. And I'm really, really sorry for not taking that seriously.
So we're going to talk about it. Let's go, guys. Before we get started, I want to offer a huge disclaimer and trigger warning. We are going to be discussing some pretty heavy topics, including DV. Sorry, I have to abbreviate everything, otherwise YouTube gets really mad at me and punishes me. It's disgusting, but such is life right now. And I will not be going too deep into Kayla's story. We're going to focus on redirecting people back to her story time, back to her platforms. I will have them linked everywhere. But for context matters, the themes do come up. And I think it's important to talk about everything involved because James knew what he was getting into and made a decision to continue to interact with a terrible person. I mean, liked minds attract each other, I guess. I don't know. But please take care of you first. I'll try and give another one before we get into a little bit of the discussion. This one is going to be a little bit heavier, but it's so important. We need to remember what kind of person James Charles is. I don't understand how he's still an influencer and how people still support him. Wild. So first things first. Who is James Charles? I don't know. There might be people who don't know. You never know. James Charles is a social media influencer who blew up back in 2016, which is wild to me. We're almost a decade into this, and every other year, he's had a different controversy that he's had to apologize for. And some of them are bad. We're gonna get into it. Back in 2016, people were really drawn into his sense of humor and his energetic tone and vibe to his videos. And that's why he blew up. His makeup skills, his personality, and all of the things in between blew him up on YouTube, and he became YouTube's newest golden boy, and even became the first male ambassador for CoverGirl. Later, cross-platforming himself onto TikTok, which is where I believe he's pretty active now. And it really didn't take long for him to gain millions upon millions of followers on YouTube, where now he sits at 24.5 million subscribers or something like that, and millions more on TikTok. But oftentimes, with a really rapid rise to fame comes a lot of drama. With James, the tea and drama has been piping hot since 2016. And like I just said, I don't understand how we are a decade later still defending this guy and sticking up for him. He has repeatedly proven what kind of human being he is. It's not a good one. So now that we've talked a little bit about his rise to fame, being riddled with controversy, let's talk about all of those scandals, or at least most of them. I hope I managed to dig up and find, because God knows there's probably some that have been yeeted off the internet or paid off or whatever the case may be. And I really want us to have an open discussion about whether cancel culture is real or if it's all bark and no bite. Even though James got slightly nipped just recently with a 700,000 follower loss after the hashtag James Charles Unfollow started trending when the most recent drama of 2025 broke. So, I mean, cool, little sting there. He has 40.7 million followers on TikTok still. So 700,000 unfollows, it literally didn't even touch him. And this guy still remains active and sponsored on social media. I don't understand how any sponsors could possibly think it's a good idea to endorse this person. I don't. It's because he has brainwashed. I don't know. First, at just 17 years old, in 2017, one short year after his rise to fame, he got caught up making a very insensitive and cringy tweet about Ebola in Africa. And of course, really quickly received a ton of backlash, got absolutely roasted, which I am here for. Please. We need more James Charles roasts. In natural James Charles fashion, he deleted the tweet and quickly apologized and then seemingly released a second clarifying apology tweet. Unclear. I don't know about you, but that apology seemed like nothing much of anything. He's just saying the words because he got backlash, not because he actually believes that he did something wrong. And people were really quick to point that out. No, you're not sorry. You're only sorry you're getting called out. You're only sorry you got caught, which is very interesting, and I want you to remember that because even way back in 2017, people were calling him out on his bullshit, and it comes up again in his most recent involvement with Kayla. She says the exact same thing, which we will get into later on in the video. But at the end of the day, he apologized, deleted the tweet, and moved on like it was nothing. Canceled? I think not. And we're just getting started. So now if we jump ahead another year to 2018, we have Dramageddon, the drama that absolutely shattered the beauty community. And it all started with Tati Westbrook, James's mentor and up until that point, friend, dropping a video called Bye Sister, where she dropped a bunch of bombshells. In the video, Tati addresses the fact that it was kind of crappy for him to be promoting a rival, I believe it was vitamin brand, while she had her brand Halo on the market, having been her friend, and also dropped some huge bombshells that James is actually very predatory towards straight men.
The last phone conversation that James Charles and I had, he said some things telling me about a situation that happened in Seattle at my birthday, and it literally made me want to vomit. Oh my God, you tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay yet again, and somehow you're the victim. You know, it's really disgusting to manipulate someone's sexuality, especially when they are still, emerging into adulthood and don't quite have everything figured out. You are using your fame, your power, your money to play with people's emotions. You're threatening to ruin them. You're threatening to embarrass them. And you're doing that to have them behave sexually in your favor, even if they're straight. And you know what? That's not okay. That behavior is not okay. Whether you're a woman, a man, gay, straight, bi, whatever sexual orientation you are, that is your personal call, and it is not someone else's to take. It's not someone else's to play with. It's not someone else's to mess with. And how dare you laugh about it and make meme after meme and retweet and this and that and I love straight boys, and make it a joke. Because this behavior is not normal, it's not okay. Cracking someone's sexuality is not an escape room. This is shit that will follow them for the rest of their lives. And you need someone to tell you to stop it. And that's exactly what I did in your kitchen in front of Gabriel Zamora. So I'm really shocked, Gabriel, that you really don't care about this at all and what is happening. You are totally complicit with the situation, obviously, with the video that you made. All right, I'm pissed.
And overnight, James lost a ton of followers. But then James claps back with his No More Lies video, drops a couple receipts, and everybody just forgave him and moved on like nothing had happened. And if we fast forward to 2020, I guess 2019 was pretty quiet, James is caught in another controversial event when he was seen lip syncing the N-word in a song, or maybe singing it, not 100% sure. And this moment sparked the hashtag James Charles's party is over. But once again, he apologized, said sorry, the hashtag faded out of virality, and everybody forgave him and moved on and forgot about it. Just another day in the office, I suppose, for Mr. Charles. And then in 2021, everything came to a head when James was accused of being inappropriate with minors. Multiple teenage boys came forward saying that James had DM'd them flirty messages or inappropriate messages. And this was by far one of his darkest scandals to date. He even admitted it. He called them victims in his apology.
And for that, to the victims, I'm so sorry.
Which is admitting wrong, admitting that he created victims. And he suffered very little consequences because he is still around to this day. This was back in 2021. He also said on a podcast out loud that he doesn't like older men and he would always go after the youngest he could possibly go after.
I'm not physically attracted to older guys, which sucks. Like, I would date like the absolute youngest, like 18, 19 that looks a little bit older, or like 24 that like has a young personality.
Okay.
Which is why he got caught up, allegedly, with these minors who said they were 18. And it's like, nah. These excuses, I don't know how anyone could possibly believe them, but okay. This time, he did suffer some consequences at the very least. After his apology video, James decided to take a couple months off for some self-reflection, and YouTube actually demonetized his platform, which was huge. And even Morphe, the makeup company, dropped him as a rep. But just 3 short months later, he comes back and starts posting again like nothing ever happened. Canceled? I think not. And all of this leads us to 2025, where James has found himself entangled in an awful domestic violence situation that shook the internet. And somehow, this professional victim managed to steal attention away from the actual victim here, Kayla, from the person who was actually fucked over in all of this.
And in my opinion, I was the one fucked over.
So now I do want to give a little bit of background information to who Kayla Malec and Evan Johnson are. I will bring up some of the things that Evan did to her and put her through. Ultimately, I want everyone to go check out her story. If you have the strength to do so, she does show receipts, videos, and it's highly disturbing. I'm only going to cover a couple things in this section, but it's important to talk about, even if it's uncomfortable. However, if it's something that's going to affect you, please just skip over this section. And also, I really don't want to give Evan Johnson more of a platform than he already has. There are other people who have already covered him, and his response videos to all of this before he got arrested, spoiler alert, sorry, was really gross and really dark and really cringy, and you might want to just go look at it knowing that he got convicted of DV. It's an interesting watch, that's for sure, but I don't want to platform him any more than I already have to, just by giving this background information and context and how he was involved with James. My friends, we need to remember Kayla is the one at the center of all of this craziness and controversy, and we need to keep her voice strong. For those of you that don't know who Kayla Malec is, she's a 20-year-old TikTok star who has over 19 million followers cross-platform. She sits at 17 million on TikTok, 1.8 million on YouTube, and over 700,000 on Insta. And with her rise to fame came some criticism because people didn't like her makeup or her freckles. Makes sense, right? But yeah, let's keep supporting James Charles, a predator, a pathological liar, a master manipulator, an ultimate victim, and hate on a woman for her looks. I can't with society. I can't. Kayla is known on TikTok for doing makeup, lip syncing, and dances and couple skits. And in May of 2024, she met her now ex-boyfriend, arrested, incarcerated a-hole, Evan Johnson, the person who shall not be named for the rest of the video, because F that. He is the sleaziest, scuzziest human, if you can even call him that, on the earth. And I'm just not about it. He doesn't deserve a name. So he shall remain he who must not be named. I really do like what Salem Tovar did. If you guys want another take on this whole saga situation, she did a really good job covering it as well. And she named him Lord Voldemort. And I'm wearing my Gryffindor shirt, so I think it's suiting to call him that, because he is evil and vile and soulless. So for 9 months, Kayla and Valdi dated, and what social media saw was them living it up across the US, from Cali to New York, and even traveling to Hawaii at one point in time, where D-Bag ended up inviting James. Why are you texting him, inviting him? And James responded with like, why would I come? Okay. But behind this perfectly curated feed, Kayla was suffering way more than any of us could have ever imagined. And once they had broken up, she did text James to tell him that they broke up and that he should stop talking to Voldemort because he is a terrible person. She told James that she would be coming out with a 30-part series discussing all of it, and told James to imagine the worst thing a person could possibly do to someone, and that's about what he did to her and put her through. And on April 4th, 2025, Kayla dropped part 1 of a 4-hour-long series called He Doesn't Love You, where she recounts her story of surviving this awful DV situation. It is incredibly powerful, it's gut-wrenching, and I urge everyone to go and watch, especially if you're one of those people who question victims on why they stayed or why they stayed for so long. Go and watch her story. She goes through it all. She explains why she stayed, how she couldn't get out, and her bravery and strength sharing all of this, taking him to court, is massive. And I hope she continues to advocate for survivors of DV, because she definitely has the presence for it and the voice for it. And what she went through was absolutely horrific, something that no human being should ever have to endure, especially from someone who's supposed to love them, who they trust. Her video exposes both the physical and emotional abuse that she endured for those 9 long months. She even showed pictures of bruises that she had and videos of assaults taking place. When she said, imagine the worst thing someone can do to you, she wasn't exaggerating. Trigger warning, because I'm going to tell you guys something. Give a little insight into Evan's mind. Trigger warning. She shows a video, and this is the one thing I saw, and I had to turn it off because I couldn't stomach it the first time I saw it. She's on the floor and says, I think you broke my jaw. And he responded with good. I shit you not. It was bad. 3 days later, on April 7th, Mr. D-Bag was arrested on charges of DV and a probation violation. But he was released later that same day on bond. And a month later, on May 7th, was sentenced to 18 months in prison after pleading guilty to all charges. And given what Kayla went through with someone who literally almost unalived her, it doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem like enough of a sentence. But Kayla herself is happy with this. Though it's less than the 5 years he would have gotten had he pleaded not guilty, it is more than the 12 months he would have gotten had he just been charged with the DV. So the 18 months, she feels like it's the DV and then some. And she's cool with that for her own justice and her own healing, which is the most important part in all of this. And on May 7th, she celebrated with a TikTok saying, I won. Yes, queen, you freaking won. A hero for DV survivors everywhere. Even Kesha came into her comments to congratulate her and tell her how brave and strong and much of a hero she was. And this is where the cockroach reveals himself. You know, he's kind of been hiding, lurking in the shadows there, and you turned on the lights and there he was, bam! Enter James Charles. Charles. Oh, you're my baby. Oh, you big stretches. I went up to get the cat for this video because I knew it was going to be a heavier video, and I know some of you guys really, really love it when he's here. I do too. I went up for us because I think we need him. Yes, we need you, my baby. Oh, getting comfy. So I'm unclear of how Kayla and James met. They probably just met through influencer stuff. They had even collabed together back in 2023. And from the start of Kayla's relationship with the Dark Lord, James was quick to comment on how hot he was. Basically, the only time he would message Kayla was to tell her how hot her boyfriend was.
Obviously, the only thing that's been said is how hot James thinks Evan is, which is like, fine, whatever. So literally, the only DMs we have in the past year is him saying how hot my boyfriend is.
Red flag number 1, maybe red flag number 15. It is James Charles. But at this point in time, James was closer with Kayla than he was with he who shall not be named. I was re-looking at the messages that James Charles shared, and he's definitely deleted messages. And if you believe James Charles and his latest very energetic and loud apology, you're part of the problem. He's definitely deleted messages, and that's not cool.
Hey, Instagram, can we get rid of vanish mode? Can we get rid of that? Can we just go in the little... Can we get rid of that? I'm gonna go crazy.
And we'll never know because we don't have access to Evan's phone. And you're gonna show one Instagram conversation and not Snapchat, not TikTok, not any other private DMs. Like, no, I don't believe you. Texts, anything, don't believe you.
Also, I think it's worth noting that all of those messages, 100%, some have been deleted, or even as Kayla said, there's vanish mode. We don't believe you. That's no proof of anything. But all of those messages were shared from pre-breakup times. He shared none post-breakup, which people are saying is just an admission of guilt. So I'm going to insert the clip from Spill Sesh here because it is such a good point. And yeah, I agree.
People were then reacting to James's screenshots online saying James posting the pre-breakup messages and none of the post-breakup messages is a silent admission of guilt because it shows he can't show what happened after. The way James posted the message, knowing that those messages were before the breakup, is crazy to me. It's the fact that he showed no messages of him and Evan after you guys broke up and just showed the parts where he was being dry with Evan. Like, it's very clear he was hiding messages and deleting stuff. Kayla even liked a comment that said, those screenshots on his story cleared up literally nothing, girl. I'm laughing with you.
And remember how I told you guys that Kayla had texted James after she broke up with, what haven't we called him yet? With Asshat. She texted James, worst possible stuff imaginable. You know what James Charles responded with? Can I have him now? Which Kayla says she was really shocked by that. Would you respond to that? You literally go to your friend and say, I just got out of a super abusive relationship. I have a 30-part series coming out, and you respond with, whoa, your abuser is super hot. Can I have him now? Who does that? It's so sleazy and insensitive. Later in his response video, James says, I didn't realize how bad it was. And the moment he did, he cut it off.
But it wasn't until a month later, when Kayla uploaded her video, He Doesn't Love You, that I actually got to sit and watch how much of a monster he is. I genuinely interpreted these messages as a messy breakup. Maybe he cheated, maybe they got into a drunken argument that ended badly. I could have never imagined what she was actually going through behind the scenes.
Do you hear that right now? Because her coming to you and saying the worst thing a person can put a person through, that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough of a red flag for James Charles to be like, oh, maybe this is bad. No, he literally didn't believe her. His friend, a victim. He chose not to believe her. And it's just like, excuse me? That's effed up. Friend or not, you don't make jokes like that. When someone comes to you saying they've been horrifically abused, you believe them. And I know that false victims are a thing and have really fucked over actual victims, but we can't assume that a victim is faking it or over exaggerating or anything. That's how people die. That's what makes it hard for people to speak out against this. And the fact that Kayla had to record the abuse as proof, as evidence, so people would believe her, so she could win a court case against him, is insane. What kind of world are we living in right now? But it's absolutely clear from his video response, just him saying, I didn't realize how bad it was, that he didn't believe her. And only after she showed up with proof, aka dropped her videos, did he take a step back and realize, oh my God, maybe like she's right. Maybe he was super toxic and bad. It is absolutely disgusting. And clearly, douche nugget weaseled his way into James Charles's life because he's a clout goblin. Kayla's ex is a clout goblin through and through. She built his social media career. In fact, that's one of the things he was most worried about when they broke up with each other, was the fact that she was his job. She was his income. Gross. And after the breakup, James was giving him tips on how to survive this cancellation because he's been through it before. Really? This is why I don't understand how people can possibly believe James Charles and a word out of his mouth, especially since he made a video teaching people how to do a convincing apology so that the commentary people couldn't come after you. And people still believe him? It makes no sense. Anyway, sorry. Back to the whole text between Kayla and James. So she told him that she was going to be coming out with the 30-part series. I touched on it a little bit earlier too. And later, Kayla's ex calls her and says, so you're making a 30-part TikTok series about me? WTF.
So me and Evan have our final call. And this is when Evan says to me, if you tell people what I did to you, that means you never loved me. That's when he said all of that on the phone. It was our last ever conversation. But in the beginning of that phone call, while we're talking, he brings up me making a 30-part series. And I immediately am like, how the fuck do you know that?
And the only person she told that she was going to make this TikTok series was James. So what, James? She told you that and you immediately went to his defense? Why would you do that unless you didn't believe the victim was actually a victim? Feeling pretty frickin' sheepish now, aren't you, James? The moment he found out, the moment she won her court case, he was like, oh, I guess I was wrong. Sorry, not sorry. Like, you knew.
But in these, I made it pretty clear that Evan had fucked me over. I brought up abuse, the worst thing a human can do. I mean,
after this whole text exchange with Kayla, rumors start circulating that James Charles was romantically involved with Voldemort. And multiple TikTokers and a couple YouTubers confirmed this exact same narrative, that James knew about the abuse and still vibed with you-know-who. And even if they weren't romantically involved, he was still communicating with him and getting all buddy-buddy with him and supporting him. Why? Because you thought he was hot? Because he's desperate.
I'm desperate.
Makes sense. And Zach Sellers, former friend of Mr. Jailbird here, came out on a podcast and I believe some TikToks exposing him for who he truly was and exposing his communications and relationship with James. He said he saw messages and like picture exchanges and stuff like that and revealed a bunch of things that was said between the two guys. But I'm not going to be platforming Zach at all because turns out he is also a predator. Because I guess they all are. I don't know what's going on with TikTok beauty community people, but apparently they're predators. But not long after Zach's 15 minutes of fame and coming out and, you know, stealing attention from Kayla, did he go radio silent because the accusations about him came out. But I'm sure he's in talks now with James on how to like perfect his influencer apology. I'm calling it now. Zach will be back and wearing all white in his apology video. Timestamp it, someone. Zach was very outspoken against Butthole here because he was really close with him. He was friends with him. He'd hang out with him all the time. So he was one of the bigger voices who basically started the rumor-scapade. But on May 7th, Mr. King of Apologies took things to TikTok, which you might remember May 7th being the court date, Kayla's victory, her win against her super toxic ex, super abusive ex, you know, same day. Yeah. Well, just one short hour after Kayla posted her victory TikTok, James posted this. Loud, proud, with a ton of energy, didn't even stutter, and expressing his ultimate disdain for these rumors that are being spread, even going so far as to threaten to sue people who continue to talk about this narrative. Which, okay, I'm sorry, the truth can be hurtful. Maybe if you weren't a terrible person, you wouldn't be so hurt by the commentary about you. He labeled everything that he had with this asshat as a brief friendship.
I really fucking hate to admit it, but I did have a brief friendship with Evan Johnson that started and ended well before I ever learned about any of the violence that was going on behind the scenes.
That ended when he learned the truth.
But at the time, I genuinely interpreted these messages as a messy breakup. Maybe he cheated, maybe they got into a drunken argument that ended badly. I could have never imagined what she was actually going through behind the scenes.
Do you hear that? Which means, I'll translate for those that can't translate, I didn't believe the victim of DV. I didn't believe my friend. But once the truth came out, once the video of her crying over a broken jaw and him smashing her head into the wall, once that came out, then we're gonna cut off the friendship. You can't make this stuff up. And I don't understand how anyone is possibly defending these behaviors. I don't get it. And that is where he got his second little nip of accountability, where he lost 700,000 followers on TikTok after the hashtag James Charles unfollow went viral. However, his YouTube remained completely untouched. And that really makes you realize how little social media drama actually crosses over platform to platform, and how easy it is for content creators to survive controversies because all they have to do is pivot or shift. And that's why it's so important to know the type of person you're supporting, in my opinion. I mean, there's going to be people who don't care. They like him for his makeup. They like him because they think he's funny. I don't care if he's a piece of shit person. But I don't think that piece of shit people should live lavish, extravagant lifestyles while families are struggling to feed their kids, while people are dying in this world. Like, why does he get to be a millionaire and be a predator? It makes no sense. But yeah, again, James Charles has skirted any type of consequence or accountability. The 700,000 unfollowed didn't hurt him at all. He has 18 million on TikTok still. Is that what it was when we looked it up? He's not affected by this at all. And not only that, but he's also stolen attention and the spotlight from the actual victim here, from the person who actually got fucked over here. And that's Kayla, because he weaseled his way in, and then even on the day of her court date, he couldn't even give her a day before jumping in, defending himself, and making it all about him. It's not about you. This whole situation, James, isn't about you. And I know you're not watching this video. I know he's not watching this video, guys. Obviously he's not watching this video, but like, it's not about him. He is literally playing the professional victim that he is. He's playing it up. He had all the warning signs. That douche nugget here was a terrible, abusive person. He had people telling him he's awful, eject, and he made the active choice to help and support him and befriend him, actively choosing not to believe the victim, also his friend, which he says, oh, we weren't that close.
Me and Kayla Malec just weren't close friends.
You weren't that close with him either.
We were acquaintances, and he knew me more than he knew Evan. He met Evan through me. I've known James. Like, at the end of the day, he knows me more than he knows Evan. So it's like, with that information, with what I told you, it should have been okay, I understand, and move on.
And yet you defend, like, misogyny. It's what it is, right? Or something. Incels, I don't know. What is happening here? He literally said out loud that he didn't believe her, that he didn't take it that seriously. He didn't think it was that bad. And responses like that are exactly why it is so hard for people to speak out against this stuff. Why it's so hard for people to come forward or stay in it and become unalived themselves because they're too scared to talk to people or seek help because nobody's gonna believe them. Do you know how helpless and isolating that must feel? And how privileged you sound by not believing the victim? This poor woman, Kayla, had to videotape her abuse. She had to video record it so that people would believe her, so that she could win her court case. That is messed up. And I know that fake victims are a thing. Take Elizabeth Tech and Tekken Brock, for example, who pretended to have cancer more than once and also said my husband was abusive and he wasn't. My ex-husband was abusive to me and he wasn't. Fake victims, it is a thing and it's a problem, but we can't just undermine when people come forward and confide in us. And it's just sickening on both ends. The fact that there are fake victims and the fact that nobody believes real victims because of fake victims. Even though real victims are far more prevalent than fake victims, they're the ones that get the media spotlight, that get the attention because it's so wrong, it's so egregious, it's awful. And that's also why Kayla's story is huge on the other end of the spectrum because she fought it and she won. Again, she is a hero for survivors everywhere, giving strength to women who didn't think they could survive it, who didn't think they could ever escape or get out of it. It blows my mind that she had to have video proof for her friend to believe her. Like, that blows my mind. So after all of this, some time passed, and I am glad that I sat on this video because I've had it in my docket for a little while and was trying to figure out what I wanted to present to you guys. And I'm glad I waited because Kayla has officially responded to James, throwing him under jabash. And I am absolutely here for it because he doesn't get to steal the spotlight from actual victims and play victim himself. He's not the victim. He didn't get fucked over. Kayla did. So as I said in the beginning about people calling him out for only being sorry he got caught, Kayla says it too. He had opportunities to reach out to her or, to believe her from the beginning and not entertain all of this.
So then it is Coachella weekend, a couple weeks later, and a video is posted exposing James to have flown my ex-boyfriend out to California. The second that this video goes public, James starts to blow up my phone, asking if I'm at Coachella, saying that we need to talk. I immediately already knew what he was talking about. Are you at Coachella? Yeah, I am. Can I talk to you? I shut it down. I don't want to fucking talk to you. He says, I felt guilty for weeks and I didn't know how to tell you and I owe the truth. I explained it to you from my mouth, not the Zach guy, and then you can feel however you want to. To me, it's quite ironic that you suddenly feel guilty about this the second that it's made public.
And in her response, she drops receipts that can't be argued. So I don't know. We'll see what comes going forward from here. But he just had tons of opportunities to not do what he did and still actively chose to do so. And magically, he's only sorry about it after it all goes public. Had Zach never come out and said anything, he would have just gone on thinking he did nothing wrong. But at the end of the day, we have to remember this isn't about James Charles drama. It's about the strength of Kayla Malec and her bravery and her story that he tried to steal. An hour after her victory, he couldn't even let her have a little bit of celebration time. Pathetic, disgusting, clout goblin behavior. Seeking clout no matter the expense of others. No matter what you end up putting people through, no matter how many people you end up hurting, it's all about the clout. And that's disgusting. So while women are out here being canceled for their looks and makeup or imperfections or wrinkles or whatever, men are only canceled if they go to jail. So is cancel culture actually just a bunch of BS with no merit? Looking at James Charles's past, dodging every single bullet, the Bola tweet, Dramageddon, the grooming allegations, and now this, and getting away with it all unscathed, continuing to be sponsored, continuing to have so many loyal supporters who lap up his every word. Sure, he's lost some followers, but 700,000 of 18 million of 24 million people, it's pennies to him. To some, that is devastating. To him, it's no skin off his back, zero. And as long as he continues to have a social media platform, he will continue to be this kind of person because that is the kind of person he is. And as long as social media platforms continue to enable him, well, the fans are apparently just going to stick around no matter what. He literally made a course on how to apologize and make it sound convincing. That's not an apology. That's not learning. That's not growth. That's gross. But if you believe James Charles and you continue to support him after all of this, after everything, you are 100% a part of the problem, a part of the bigger problem, and are enabling a predatory, manipulative, awful person to live a lavish life of luxury. Cancel culture has a lot of energy. It's fiery, but the problem is it has no longevity. People's attention span is so low nowadays. And what does that do? It enables awful creators like James Charles to continue to exist online because people are so quick to forget the controversies. So they go quiet for a little bit, come back, maybe apologize, or just stay silent, stay out of trouble, don't address anything, and then everybody just moves on and forgets about it. Screw James Charles. Block, delete, unfollow, all the things. He is never gonna change. He's not a victim, despite him playing it. And just because a personality comes on with a lot of energy doesn't mean they're telling the truth. Just because he didn't stutter or trip up or anything a little bit doesn't mean that he was telling the truth or being sincere in his apology. You can speak with conviction if you practice. He scripted it, he practiced it, and apparently he nailed it because people believe him. And I know his audience is really young, but like, come on. The cloudiest of goblins are entangled in Kayla's story, and I'm sorry, girl. Like, I feel so bad that these freaking people are just like, but he did this to me. But look, I can talk about it because he did this to me. Like, no, go away. Stop it. You guys didn't survive anything. That's what I got for you for today's video. Drop your comments down below. Do you think James Charles is actually untouchable, or do you think his time is coming? And please don't forget to divert attention back to Kayla, the person who deserves the attention in this story. Her voice is the most important voice. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with someone who cares. It helps boost them into the algorithm and helps my voice reach more people. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys. If you or someone you know needs help, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or visit their website at www.thehotline.org for more resources and to get the help you need.